There's a lot to report always. We're living history. First, I still have the remains of COVID. It started on June 6th, and here it is, the 26th, and I still feel it. I still feel fatigue. I'm negative, but don't be surprised, folks, if you get hit with this new strain, that you still feel fatigue after all these weeks. I understand that it could actually stay with us for about a month. So here's hoping it's gone. What else is in the news? Well, after Trump has taken his victory lap after the bombing of the nuclear weapon facilities, he's on to the big, beautiful bill. Let me be clear. I'm not annoyed or upset. I'm happy that he bombed those nuclear weapon plants. I know Israel went back and tried to finish the job at Fodro. So I'm hoping there's going to be a lasting peace. And if we're lucky, and if the Iranian people are lucky, there'll be regime change. Meanwhile, I think the Middle East has been ordered, and it is time for stability in the region. Certainly, if Netanyahu can be deposed before October of 26, when the elections come out, I think there'll be a two-state solution in Israel. Not going to happen right away, but it will happen, since it looks like the Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank are not going anywhere. The other countries simply don't want them. So we'll see. We're making history as we speak. The Middle East is being reordered, and I'm hoping that eventually they will get to sharing technology, sharing innovation, and sharing what they know about climate and climate catastrophes and reversing it. A lot of bright people there. At least 25,000 Arabs study at the Technion. And what's happening in our country? Well, Trump is now looking at that big, beautiful bill, and he wants it passed by July 4th. If that happens, it will be a disaster for our country. It'll be a disaster in many ways. Not only does it attack Medicaid and SNAP, not only does it put in work programs that we all know are hard to administer and actually cost more than the savings of taking 16 million people off of Medicaid. So there's really no purpose for this, except to show that they are offsetting costs to allow the corporate tax cuts to continue, which will add about $4 to $5 trillion to our national debt, which we don't need. And you know what? The corporations can afford to pay more into the IRS. As I've said before, of the $4.7 trillion collected by the IRS last year, only 500 and some odd billion is paid by the corporations. Why is it that the middle class, the less wealthy, and the poor are paying taxes? Why should our taxes go up? Why should we suffer with expensive health care when we're finally getting the health care we want? Does it need work? You bet. Do we need a better way to make it efficient for people? Yes, so that less claims are generated and that more of our services are guaranteed? Yes. Does it mean that insurance companies should play a lesser role in our lives? Absolutely. And that brings me to the other topic that hasn't hit us yet, but will. That big, beautiful bill is bad enough when it looks at our health care and our social safety net. What it does to climate is a travesty. It's a disaster waiting to happen and will have consequences far beyond the pollution it will generate and the weather extremes that will occur. Because we're going to have more people displaced. And when you have weather extremes, you've got insurance companies that no longer want to insure people's properties. You have mortgages that are harder to obtain. You'll get foreclosures. And all of this will lead to another 2008 crash because banks will become insolvent as people are displaced from their homes and can no longer afford to pay these higher mortgages. We need a rethink. Peter Thiel says, we're stagnating. Well, he's right, we are. And believe me, AI without controls is not the answer to the next revolution. The next revolution will occur when we go into fourth generation nuclear power plants, fusion technology, and whatever quantum computing can do for us. But for that, we need education and we need science. And none of these are being funded by the Trump government. All that's happening is that Trump is making deals for himself and his cronies. And they're making the big bucks, but we're putting in the money for him to make all that capital. I think it's time that we had taxation with representation, because right now, folks, we don't have it. When we're putting in the lion's share of the federal government's budget, and it's not going to be dispersed to us the way we want in a social safety net, and also securing the immigrants who are in this country and putting everyone on a path to citizenship, and forgetting about the tyranny of ICE, we're not being represented at all. So all I can say is, if we're not going to have a real revolution of some sort, and we're going to protest civilly, we got to protest and protest all the time as much as we can. And we've got to call our congressional representatives and say, don't you dare pass that bill. Oh, and the last caveat, according to the parliamentarian, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, all of those social safety net programs that we have, it's not legal or constitutional, according to congressional edicts, that they go through a reconciliation bill. They can't even be in that bill. They should be out. And you know what? Since none of us wants it to pass, and it'll put 16 million people minimum off of health care and into either no health care or having to pay for it, that's okay with me. Shouldn't be in a bill to begin with. We should fix it, not destroy it. I think we got a lot to be thinking about and a lot to do, but we do it with purpose, and we do it in a civil manner when we protest, and protest a lot we must.